Hello, friends. So today I thought we would do one of your favorite stories and activities that we do, which is called Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. Now, if you haven't heard this one before, maybe if you're in third, fourth, or fifth grade, you're welcome to follow along. And if you know it, feel free to do it with me. So, I love this story so much because it only needs my voice and two hands. So, this story I actually got from a really great YouTube channel called Jaybrary, which is this resource for librarians actually who do story time. But I use this in my music classroom as well. So here we go. This is the story of Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. So there was Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle. And didn't you know it? They lived in identical houses. Mr. Wiggle, Mr. Waggle. So in order to get into his house, Mr. Wiggle had to open his door, go inside, and close the door. And Mr. Waggle had to open the door, go inside, and close the door. So one day, Mr. Wiggle wanted to visit Mr. Waggle. So he opened his door, went outside, and closed the door after himself. But then, to get all the way over to Mr. Waggle's house, he had to go down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up, down and up, down and up. He finally made it to Mr. Waggle's house, and he knocked on his door. But no one answered. So he said, "Oh, Mr. Waggle!" But still, no one answered. So he had to go back down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and 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 down and up. He finally made it all the way home, and he opened his door, went inside, and closed the door. Now, wouldn't you know it, the very next day, Mr. Waggle wanted to visit Mr. Wiggle. So he had to open his door, go outside, and close the door. And then he went down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up. He finally made it to Mr. Wiggle's house, and he also knocked on his door. But no one answered. So he said, "Oh, Mr. Wiggle!" But no one answered. So he had to go back down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up, down and up. He finally made it all the way home, and he opened his door, went inside, and closed the door. Now, the very next day, Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle decided to visit each other at the exact same time. So they opened their doors, went outside, and closed their doors. And then they both went down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and down and up. But then they met in the middle. And they were so excited to see each other that they rolled down the hill together and then hopped back up. And then they rolled down the hill together and hopped back up. And one more time, because they were so excited, they rolled down the hill together and hopped back up. And then they were so tired from going up the hill and down the hill and rolling down together that they decided to just talk. And they told each other about their weeks and their days and what video games they'd been playing and how their grandmas were doing. But then they noticed that the sun was going down and it was time to go home. So they each said goodbye, goodbye. And they both went down the hill and up the hill, down the hill and up the hill, down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down and up, down and up, down and up. They both made it home after this long day, and they opened their big heavy doors, went inside, and closed the doors. Now, the next time that Mr. Wiggle and Mr. Waggle wanted to visit each other, they decided to write an email instead.